Hello, hello. Welcome to the EKO Podcast. I am your host, Andria Lovitt, and we have the lovely Aelicia Chocolate Watson here today. And she is the founder of Redeemed Women. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. I'm so glad. We had an amazing conversation. It's like we always have amazing
We do.
conversations.
We do. We're
Yeah.
whole vibe. We're whole vibe.
We are a vibe. So I
Yes.
just want to thank you for coming once again, and let's
Yeah.
just jump right into it.
Okay, let's do it.
Yes. Okay. So we talked about some things, and especially with your story. So I would love just to expose that and just like for you to share your story. We talked about you going from the hood to
Yeah.
being the CEO.
Yeah.
So just dig into that.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me on. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. I do not take this invitation lightly or for granted, especially as a Black woman. And so I really appreciate that. For your friends that do not know me, I am Aelicia Watson, affectionately known as Chocolate. And I go by Chocolate because it was a name that started as a derogatory as a kid. I was bullied as a kid. I'm the oldest of eight on both sides.
Oh, wow.
And I am the only one with the darkest skin. And so I used to be called this chocolate baby and all the things. And when I turned 17, I really started owning it. But yeah, grew up in absolute poverty. I am 43. I had a baby at 14 years old.
Wow.
Cancer 3 other times before now walking through stage 4 breast cancer with a spread to my lung that I was re-diagnosed last October. So I am currently in active treatment and chemotherapy and all the things, but I don't let it get me down. My mother was a drug addict my whole life, dad an alcoholic, and also dad raped me as a kid. And so I've just seen a lot. I was married at 18, domestic violence. And I talk about going from the hood to the CEO because I was really the girl that wasn't supposed to make it out.
Yeah.
I am fourth generation girl on my mom's side that have never been to jail, never been on drugs or alcohol, and first to graduate high school and go to college.
Wow.
After having a baby at 14, my daughter graduated top of her class from Skyline High School here in Dallas, Texas, and then she went to college twice. And that just doesn't really happen.
Right.
And I like to say, but God, and I had a praying
love
grandmama.
that. Yes,
I had a
ma'am.
praying grandmama that was, on my dad's side, that was just so instrumental in my life, is what I would say.
Yeah.
And I dealt with a lot of shame. I'm a recovering people pleaser. I love the Lord, but I'm very vocal and outspoken and transparent.
I love that.
I say what I mean and I mean what I say. But that also really just became a part of my life because I believe in boundaries, but I also believe in advocating for myself because I don't come from advocating for myself.
Yes.
I started after high school in childcare. I went to school for early childhood education. I did that for 10 years. The Y sent me to school. I then retired out of childcare after having a 10-year-old that became a latchkey kid. And I got into transportation and logistics. I started in the warehouse making $7 an hour.
Wow.
Started from the bottom and worked my way up there. And then in 2013, I was diagnosed with stage 2B breast cancer. And after going through that, I was like, okay, God, I know that there's more.
Yeah.
What do you have for me? And I knew that I had a heart for serving women. No matter what your material class is and no matter what color you are, I have a heart for women. And, I lead a very diverse life. I always tell my friends that probably 80% of my friends are white or Hispanic. I don't think a lot of people know that about me. But, and so I've always had a heart for women. So I started a Bible study in my home 7 years ago.
Wow.
And the Bible study just blew, literally. I was still working in transportation and meeting women in my home on Tuesday nights. And we outgrew my home. And some friends really spoke life into me. And they were like, man, you have a heart for women.
Yeah.
You should do this full time. And I'm like, y'all crazy. I'm not doing this full time. No. And make a long story short, I just feel like on my deathbed of planning for a senior to be be given over to a friend of mine to help me parent if I died. And telling God, if you save my life, I'll work for you. And he did.
Wow.
And I'm still here, right? And so I started this organization, Redeemed Women, centrally located here in South Dallas. And we are right across the street from the State Fair, Texas Fair Park.
Okay.
In the hood. A lot of people do not know that.
Yeah,
that is the hood.
It is the hood.
Yeah,
Yep.
that is an economically ignored community.
Yeah.
And so I always say I know how to code switch very well. I've been in the hood my whole life. I just know how to do life outside of the hood because of the relationships that I have.
Yeah.
Like being in relationship with you, Andria.
Aww.
And like my friendships exposed me to different things.
Yeah.
And so started this organization because I wanted something local that people would have access, people specifically women would have access to in the community that they can walk to, ride their bike to, drive to, dart transit into, but something that was local for women because we lack resources. And it was because I was exposed to mentors in high school, therapy. I was in the Parents in Education program. I also have had amazing people speak life into me and to tell me that I was going to be a great woman and that my gifts would make room for me. And I knew that I had a call on my life to speak as well. And I wanted to speak and empower women that if I could do it, you can too. And that's not just the woman that grew up in poverty like myself. That's all women. And we just need to be reminded that that we are badasses. And
Yes, we are.
We are. And we get shit done.
Yes.
And I like that about us. And so I get to be the example of coming out of the hood and being the oldest of 8, but also the women that have challenges and face circumstances like me, whether it be domestic violence or bullying or teen pregnancy or rape or low self-esteem or, these are the areas that I openly talk about in my life and the areas that I've struggled with.
Yeah.
But I am just called to openly share those things where a lot of women are called to not share those things publicly. And I share them publicly because I want people to know you're not alone.
Yeah.
And when people look at me, they're like, oh my God, your vibe, your aura. But I'm like, well, let me tell you my story and how it got here and how I started standing up for myself. So I started this 501c3 7 years ago. And we are doing some amazing things in terms of transforming women to lead independent lives. And now I'm getting ready to build apartments, 21 units, right behind our current location. And again, this is a Black woman from the hood.
Yeah, that's just...
with no formal training, but God saw fit. And so,
yes, he did.
Yeah.
Amen.
I'm ratchet, but I cuss a little too. So, and I love God.
Hey,
so,
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
So, be yourself, do you, and I love it because it really takes authenticity to really step into this world and make an impact. Yeah. You cannot make an impact without being authentic. Yeah. So that's just the only way to go. Right. Right? Right. And that reminds me of something. I attended your event at the, what was it? It
was Highland Park Presbyterian Church, and it was our 7th anniversary and fundraiser, dinner and concert.
Yes, that was amazing.
Thank you.
So I was witness to when you announced the project with the apartment. So I think that's when I saw you and I was like, I have to be around this woman. She's like such a light.
Thank you.
Such a light. And I went right up to you. I was like, let's please exchange contacts.
Yeah. And we did.
Yes. Yes. And I'm so thankful because your friendship has meant so much to me.
Thank you.
And the things that we've talked about have really inspired me to be more of my authentic self. Exactly. And so
thank you.
One thing that I remember you saying when we were at the Presbyterian event, at the Presbyterian church, you talked about doing life with people.
Yes.
And I had never really heard that before. But when you broke that down of what that really means, I can see like how that can affect many industries and many people in general, but especially with us women. Yeah. Because for us, our gift is the gift of being able to connect. Yeah. Like the way women connect. Yeah. There's no one that does it like women. Yeah. Right? We connect in a very specific way. Right. And we connect with both men and women, Right. But there's something specific about doing life with people. Yes. So tell me a little bit more about what that means to you.
Well, I always thought if I was doing life with somebody, I probably wouldn't have stayed in an abusive marriage for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was married to my first husband for 10 years. He beat me for 5 years.
Wow.
I never told anybody about it. I was ashamed. And I thought, but man, if I was doing life with somebody, maybe they would have been my support to say, girl, you can get out of that.
Yeah.
You don't have to go back to that. You don't have to stay there. And I thought to myself, now that I'm healed and whole from that, what does it really look like to do life with somebody?
Yeah.
So, for example, people say, well, let's go have coffee. And then you go have coffee with them and they keep the surface stuff.
Yeah.
They don't tell you, I'm struggling in my marriage.
Yeah.
My kids are cray-cray. I'm contemplating suicide. I just got divorced. The bills are due and we're not able to meet ends meet. You get the surface stuff. You show up cute. You show up all primped and propped. How's everything going? And everything is good. But are you doing life with me if I told you that my ex-husband sued me and divorced me 5 years ago and took every dime I had out of our joint bank account?
Wow.
Because that's not on Facebook. That's doing life with each other.
Right.
When you find that out.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Or what does it mean when I tell you that my dad raped me as a kid and when I got pregnant, I actually had to go blood test my daughter to make sure that my daughter wasn't my dad's?
Wow.
That's doing life with somebody.
Wow.
That's not what you see on Facebook and Instagram.
Exactly.
So I am a person that truly does life, and I show up in the thick of things because I understand people need that.
Yeah.
And I understand that people don't have it. And oftentimes we think, I'm going to go to my family. I got my my cousins or my aunt. Sometimes it's going to be those outside people that you really get encouraged to do life with because they understand they can let you just be yourself.
Right.
I show up being myself because I want people to know that they can do that around me.
Yeah.
But I also show up being myself because I'm like, well, why not?
Yeah.
Because who gonna check me, boo?
Yes.
Nobody.
Right.
And I didn't want to be a space, chocolate. I don't want to be a space that when we get together in our value time, that it's going to be BS. We're going to get together. We're going to be like, girl, look, this what's going on. What's up? Like, I'm booking speaking events. Did you know that I'm trying to book some new clients? Do you have anybody? Can you refer me to somebody? That's doing life.
Right. Right. And I think what you highlighted is like not only the authenticity, but there's a way to do that without being like just vomiting it all over somebody.
Yes.
You know, and it's like the way that what I hear when you talk about that, when you go through like the things that you're experiencing that are not so pretty, that are not so perfect for Facebook or for social media, but you're saying it in a way where it's you're coming from an empowered place.
Yeah.
You're not coming from a victim place where you're just like, oh, this happened to me, poor me. You're not trying to suck life from somebody else by telling them about your problems.
Right.
You're telling them, hey, this is what I've been through.
Right.
So because I've been through this, I can hold your hand.
Right.
And walk beside you. It's a very different tone.
It is.
It's a very different tone. I wanted to highlight that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because I think the question is a lot of times, especially in like the industries, like business, for example, a lot of women are looking for a way to connect authentically with their potential clients, like with their potential business partners, right?
Right.
And it's like you kind of struggle with, do I say too much? Like, am I saying this? Is that too much? Like, you know, and you feel like maybe I'm too much, right?
Right.
Or you try it and then people run away. And so what would you say to that woman who is just wanting to learn how to do life with people and learning how to own the stuff that they've been through without being a victim? Like, how do you do that skillfully?
I will say a lot of grace and prayer. So listen, I do not apologize for loving the Lord. Yes, I have some cuss words, but I do not apologize for loving the Lord.
Absolutely.
I grew up in the Baptist church as a kid, and my grandparents kept me in the church, and then I established my own relationship with God. God will give you a grace and a freedom and a passion to be authentically who you are over time with your personal relationship with, not grandmama relationship, right? So first of all, I had to give myself grace. I had to own the fact that I have abandonment issues because my mom left at 7. and I have trust issues because my biological dad, raped me as a kid. I had to own those things. And then after owning those things and letting the Lord, his word wash over me, I had to start speaking those things as they were. Chocolate, you are beautifully, fearfully, wonderfully made, and wonderfully. Baby, I put my name there. Do you hear me? Chocolate, you are a badass. You're going to be cute every day. You're going to show up and have a smile no matter what. I started speaking those words over my life. And then I started believing it. Because first of all, how can I communicate to somebody else if I'm not even believing it about myself?
Yes.
And then I got to forgive the people that hurt me. Not for them, for me. I had to, when my ex-husband left, I remember my friends told me I was crazy. I called him up on the phone and told him, please forgive me for the ways that I've wronged you in this marriage. And also, I want to tell you that I forgive you as well. And I hung up the phone, and I've never talked to him a day since then. But that wasn't for him. That was for me, so I can move accordingly.
Yeah, forgiveness is for ourselves.
Yes.
Really.
And so for me to, I was, and then be okay with being angry. You four times going through cancer, and I'm 43. You think I'm not mad at God still right to this day? And I'm like, I am doing everything to make your name great. Why I gotta be attacked right now? I am on fire for you. I love people. I'm not trying to hurt nobody. I'm not being petty and messy. Why I gotta be going to the doctor every week? Why? So even with that, I had to be okay with that. And so for me, I would tell that woman that's listening, first, be okay with who you are.
Yeah.
Forgive yourself and others, and find ways to move accordingly for you. And the best way to do that is by trying new things. I travel by myself. My passport is stamped up with only stamps that I've got by myself. I don't wait on nobody to travel with me. I go do the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
I eat what I want to eat, put different things on my palate. If I don't like it, I spit it out. Because I'll wear what I want to wear. I got all these colors on today.
And it's fabulous.
It's because I want it. I don't care what nobody say about me. Well, why you got that on and you bold? I'm doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
But that takes time to do.
Yeah.
And so I would tell that listener and that person that woman that's coming behind, find who you are. Yeah. And sometimes you got to go through an awakening. And sometimes you got to cry and scream and throw some stuff and get it out your system and start all over again. And when you can't pick yourself up out the bed, try again tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
It's interesting because you have this bold presence, and when you're speaking, you are like on fire. And I feel like you're fire for God. I can sense that, and I can sense that you're on fire for yourself too. Yeah. Like you go hard for yourself.
I do. Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Like that's such a powerful example. And yet I still sense humility. Like it's very interesting because it doesn't come across as arrogant. Right?
Thank you.
There is a way to have boldness without arrogance.
Yes.
And that takes that humility. And I think that the core of that humility that you talked about is when you said being okay with where you are.
Yeah.
As imperfect, as whatever, as messy, like to really be able to stand before God and be like, God, this is all I have, but I'm willing to stand.
Yeah. That's
I'm
all I
willing
got.
to stand before you. Yeah. That takes humility and incredible vulnerability.
Thank you.
And I want to pinpoint that because that is what I think is missing sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially like today you have the boss babe movement and and it's just like there's like this idea that like in order for me to be a boss, I have to put others down, or I have to like ignore what's wrong in my life.
Right.
So you go from like the one side of it where I'm a victim to like I don't care about anything or anybody, and I just want to talk about myself, right? From a selfish place, right? Those two are really two sides of the same coin.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that first step when we talked about women who want to learn how to embody that doing life with people and how to embody that boldness, I think that first step is humility.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
That breaking down and being like, here it is.
Yeah.
This is where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think for me, what I've learned in that season is I'm like, you can go hard all day long to try to be the boss. But what I've learned is I'm a boss no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm a boss if I wasn't the CEO. I'm a boss if I was the janitor. I'm a boss because I show up in the light every day.
Yeah.
I'm not a boss because of my position in the work that I do. I'm a boss because I actively show up every day with
Okay.
all the struggles, with all the
Yeah.
pain, with all the fear, with all the hurt. I still continue to do life with others. That is what makes me a boss. And that's what
Yes.
keeps me humble. And the other
Yes.
accolades, okay, fine. But that's not what is at the core of chocolate. The core of chocolate is I'm going to be great no matter where I'm at. In any room I walk in, I'm going to speak. I'm going to say hello. I'm going to smile at you. I'm going to shake your hand. Whether you want to or not, I'm going to greet you and I'm going to address you and you're going to know who I am. That's what keeps me humble.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. So let's talk a little bit about redeemed women.
Okay.
Because I love that it started as a Bible study and somehow just took you on that journey and just turned it into just like a organization that has now you're able to give to women. So what kind of woman is redeemed women serving?
Redeemed women serves the woman like me, the broken, the hurt, the woman with trust issues, the woman that has been wounded, the woman that's struggling in her identity, the woman that is trying to get her life back on track after a few failures, the woman that had learning disabilities, just the whole woman. I like to say that we are centrally located in an impoverished community, but we really do tap all kinds of women. But specifically, we do reach more the minority, the underserved, the low income, the woman that is like me. I mean, my first job was at Burger King at 15 years old. I had a baby at 14, got a job at 15 at Burger King. I knew that there was greatness inside of me, but I struggled to figure that out because I didn't have community and relationships, authentic relationships around me that pulled out my potential. Redeemed Women is that safe space where you can come in and you can say, listen, I am trying to get out of this domestic violence situation and I don't know where to go. And this is what I have going on. And will you walk with me? We walk alongside women, but I tell people, we will walk alongside you as long as you're willing to go. When you stop, we keep going. But when you're ready, we'll be right here when you're ready. And so for me, education is really a big key. So we provide access to these resources. So we bought a house that we turned into workspace that we own, pay for cash, might I add. We have a computer lab. We have free therapy services. I go to a therapist. I believe in therapy. I've been going to a therapist since I was 16 years old. People fail to realize that most therapists 95% of therapists are white. My therapist is white. And so, which I love her. And she is thebomb.com. But in my community, people lack access to therapy. And so it's not the color of your skin. It's just, are you willing to come down so people can have access to take advantage of the resource, right? We still do our Bible studies, and we call it Just for Us. It's just for women and all women. But we do that on Tuesday mornings. And then we do community outreach where we're going in the community. We're knocking on doors and we're telling women that they are loved and God has a plan for their lives. We are not Bible beaters at Redeemed Women. I love the Lord, but that's not what we're called to do. We're called to love on women. And through loving on women, we find out their individual need. A lot of women come through our doors that are looking to become self-sufficient and are trying to get back into the work field. They sometimes are leaving a domestic violence situation or even prison without a driver's license or ID, social security card, and birth certificate. I tell people we take a hand up approach and not a hand out approach in helping that woman become self-sufficient again, so the economic development could be great for her life and her family's life and the generations to come that are coming behind her. I went to college, my daughter went to college, and you can damn sure rest assured that my daughter's kids is going to go to college. but somebody had to walk me through that.
Right.
And it's hard because women, we messy. We are messy. Do
We're
you hear
very,
me?
like, we have our emotions
We
and our
do.
cycles and all of those
We
things.
do. We have
Yeah.
a lot of things going on, but we're also powerhouses.
Yes.
And we think that we can take on the world, because we have been able to take on the world. But sometimes we need the backhand support. We need that one-on-one support. So our lives can be better. And so that's what we do at Redeemed Women. We build up the whole woman. We address the spiritual, physical, and vocational needs. We provide education. We provide access to hygiene items. You would be surprised how many women don't have access to tampons and pads. Do people know how expensive that stuff is?
They call that the pink tax.
Listen.
Yeah.
It is ridiculously expensive.
It's getting more expensive.
More
too.
expensive.
Yeah.
And so we address those needs. We have an Amazon wish list right on our website. People can find us at redeemedwomen.org. I'm sure you'll drop the link.
Yes.
We're also on Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Watson Chocolate. And then Redeemed Women is at Redeemed Women Dallas. But, one of the things that I tell people is find a way to get involved in empowering women.
Yeah.
Whether it is just all I can do right now is write the check, or all I can do right now is come down and volunteer because I don't have financial resources to show up. Do what you're called to do. Time, talent, and or treasure. Because we all have it.
Yeah.
I am working in a nonprofit field. Of course, I don't make a whole lot of money working in nonprofit, but I still give to other nonprofits. I show up with time, talent, and resources and investing in my community and communities alike. And it's not just women. I believe in education. So, of course, I support schools in South Dallas like CCA, which is a school for at-risk youth. Or, of course, I support men that need empowerment, like the Men of Nehemiah that's in South Dallas, because men are recovering from drug addiction. And so I find ways to give back.
Yeah.
So Redeemed Women is a place where people can give back. They can see themselves there. Bring your church group, bring your corporate group, bring your coffee group, your cocktail group, and come down and serve and be hands-on. Because, no matter what color we are, our blood is the same color. It's red.
Yep.
It's red. So, yeah.
Okay, now that's awesome. As you were talking, I was really just seeing like, man, there's so much like just parallels between what we're both doing.
Yeah.
So EKO, for those who are new to the brand, it stands for Expanding the Kingdom of Opportunity. And really that's my mission. And it's like, my brokerage that I work with, we talk about all the time that, it stands for people helping people, right? But we talk about giving a hand up instead of a hand out. So when you said that, I was like, wow. And we also serve, the multicultural middle class. And this is a population that, when it comes to financial literacy and financial freedom, has been passed over.
Yeah. Very much. In the Black communities as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so, I think that, there's definitely places that we can connect.
Yes, absolutely.
Like all day. But what I hear in what you're doing is that you're taking women and you're teaching them how to embody that, do life with people.
Yes.
From a place of power.
Yeah.
And also how to like connect with God and walk with God in a way that's edifying as opposed to judgmental.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that have been hurt by religion or by the church or whatever. And I don't think that it's God hurting his people.
No.
I believe that it's people who are representing God from a broken place.
Yes.
And so they do broken things.
Yes.
And they don't have that opportunity to really connect and come out of those goggles, like those like, it's almost like fuzzy goggles that people are wearing where they're seeing things through a distorted perspective.
Yeah.
They're not seeing, like what's really happening.
Right.
Like every time they take actions, they're taking the actions thinking that it's helping.
Yeah.
But it's actually pushing people away.
Right.
And I think that is the case, especially when it comes to sales.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, you might feel excited about an opportunity. You might feel excited about business, But the approach,
Yes.
because the person is, coming from a place of desperation, they don't have that humility, and they don't have that peace inside themselves that's high identity,
Yeah.
right? Then they're taking all these tactics that are pushing people away.
Yes. Yes.
And it's like, what I see is like full circle, like it's a skill set
Yeah.
that can be addressed not just in business, not just in nonprofit, but also spiritually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I'm writing a book, and it's called The Kingdom in You.
Okay.
And I feel like I want to spend even more time with you.
Okay.
And I want to come and like engage with Redeemed Women.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's gonna enrich like the book that I'm writing.
I love it.
The book is focused on women.
Okay.
Who are feeling like, okay, I want more out of life.
Right.
Like I want to do something more.
Right.
But something is missing. Like I'm just missing that one little piece.
Yeah.
Right. So it's about exposing the kingdom in you.
I love that.
Like God's kingdom
inside
of you. Yeah.
Yay.
And I think when you talk about doing life with people, when you talk about that humility, and when you talk about that sense of boldness for God, and also boldness like standing behind yourself.
Yeah.
That is what I see as the kingdom inside of us. That's what it really is.
Yeah.
It's a heart posture.
Yeah.
It's a posture that says, God, I don't know what you're doing with me.
Yeah.
And I'm standing here ragged.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know you have something planned.
Yeah.
I know you have something big for me.
Yeah.
So here I am.
Here I am, Lord.
Do whatever you need to do in my life.
Yeah.
And trusting I can get better.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it takes. Like you talked about with Redeemed Women, how there are, people who like if they like you're willing to help them as long as they're willing to go.
Yeah.
And if they're not, you're gonna keep going, and you're gonna come back to them.
Yeah.
When they're ready.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that is a key posture to have in the heart, because you're not taking it personal.
Right. Absolutely not.
You're not taking it personal.
No.
But it takes an inner transformation to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you unlock that humility? How do you unlock that boldness?
Yeah.
How do you, in the context of God?
Yeah.
Like, how do you see God in a way where that's okay? It's okay for you to be bold.
Yeah.
And it's okay for you to be messy. And it's okay for you to just,
Yeah.
be vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my book, you go to my site. It's EKO Podcast.life. That is where, if you want to get on the waiting list to download the book.
I love it. I'm telling all my friends.
Thank you.
Yes, because I have friends.
I know you do. I know you have more than friends. You got family.
I do. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's how you can, share that with your friends. And for those that are watching, you can go to that site to go ahead and get on the waiting list.
Okay.
And I also want to bring up for Redeemed Women, how can people engage with Redeemed Women? I know you talked about like come and volunteer, but is there a website they can go to get started?
Yeah, so it's Redeemed, it's redeemedwomen.org, O-R-G. And again, we're on Instagram and Facebook at Redeemed Women Dallas.
Okay.
And if people also want to book me to come on their podcast like you did, or maybe potentially come speak to their group, I travel. And there's a contact form on the website to reach out to me directly to book me to speak. And then I connect you with my assistant and all the things. And then I would just say, people can engage, even if they're not local, by following on social media and then sharing it with their friends.
Yeah.
That's the best way to get the word out about how we're changing lives one woman at a time locally.
Absolutely. And I'm telling all my friends too. Yeah, so I love to join hands with you and do this work together.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to see what God does for both of us.
Thank you. I'm excited. Thank you again for having me on.
Thank you for coming.
I really appreciate it. We are amazing.
Yes, we are.
And keep up the good work. And I'm so proud of you and your podcast and just excited about what God is doing in your life and how he is allowing our friendship and our relationship to blossom and bloom.
Absolutely. Let's do life together.
Let's do life together.
All right. It's a wrap.